Hello, this is David Bramlett. I am the Technical Support Manager for US and Canada for Rossler Security. Today we're going to be talking about how to move Axtrax or AxtraxNG to a new PC. Of course, the first thing that we always have to do in any case is to do a backup. In my situation today, I have an old Axtrax AS525 I want to convert to my AxtraxNG software. So the first thing that we would do is go to Tools, Database. We want to do a backup now. We want to browse and put it on our desktop. Veritrax 5 is going to be my file name. I do a save. And my export is completed. One of the things that you do want to check if you are trying to upgrade to NG from AS525 is that the AS525 software must be at 4.25 in order for it to import into NG. If you find that your software is an earlier version, you can contact us at Technical Support. Send us that version. We will convert it to 4.25 for you and send it back. Once I have my backup on my desktop, the next thing that I'll need to do is to install a thumb drive and transfer this over to my thumb drive. You can see here that I have a removable drive. I would just go to Windows Start to my computer. I'll see my removable drive, and I will simply left click and drag, copy it over to my thumb drive. So we have done our backup. We've moved it to our flash drive. Now, one of the things to point out is that if for some reason, and a lot of these cases are, that the PC has crashed or has been taken or whatever, if you do not have a backup, then there is nothing that you can do except start back over. That would be creating the networks, find the panels, and installing all of your cards, fobs, or PIN numbers. Our next step would be to install the software. All of Rosslera's software is maintained here at our South Lake office. You would simply need to go to www.axtraxng.com, and you'll see that at this time we have 3 different softwares. We have the old Axtrax AS525 for a number of reasons. If your PC that you're going to be installing on already has a different version of SQL, then we would need to download the AxtraxNG 22.8. If there is no SQL on your new PC, then your best choice is to download the version 23.04 and let it install the AxtraxNG and install our SQL. If your PC already has SQL installed on it, we have a training guide for you. If you go to Training Guides, if you go to Manual Install of SQL 2005, this will take you to the right Microsoft download, and it will give you the procedures on how to set up, how to put in the correct password for our SQL for our software to see the right login screens. After we have installed our software, our next step would be to move our software from our thumb drive to the desktop. So again, we would go to our Windows Start, Computer, go to our removable thumb drive, and we would simply left click and drag to the desktop. In my case, I'm demoing with just one PC, so I already have on my desktop my backup. So once I have my backup, I want to open my software. Password is lowercase admin, and I want to go to Tools, Database, and I am going to be importing an earlier version of 4.25. If it were a AxtraxNG software, then I would simply say import earlier version of AxtraxNG. Or if for whatever reason I'm just changing and I am staying with the same software version on old PC and new PC, then I would just do import configuration and events. So in our case, we are importing an earlier database, 4.25. I'm going to browse. I'm going to go to my desktop, and I am going to select, it will be a version 23. Tell it OK. It says it will take a few minutes. Tell it OK. Always our software closes the database. One thing that I can monitor here is if I go to my watchdog, double click on it, I'll be able to see the progress of our import. Importing access events can be real timely. If there are the 90 or 95,000 or so events that you'll see often, then it can take 10 or 15 minutes. In my case, you can see that I am back up. When it says server running as service, I'm connected. It does say that I have network problems and that my panels are inactive, and that would be a normal situation because I have not stepped through and completed the installation. So I'm going to close out Watchdog. I'm going to close out my old. And the next thing that you would do is, if you are on a PC and you are connected serial, then you'll need to know which port I'm now on, because you will have to change that. To find out which port, the easiest way in my opinion is go to Windows Start, right click Properties, go to Device Manager, and you would have ports. In my particular case, I'm hooked up as a TCP/IP, and I do not have any ports connected at this point in time. If I am using a TCP/IP connection, then I would start my software, lowercase admin. I can see now that I have my networks. I can see that I now have my panels. So what I need to do at this point in time is verify my IP address. The one thing that you always have to do is you have to know what network you're on. The best way to do this is to go to your Windows Start, type in CMD into the window, pulls up your command prompt, do an IP config, and then this will tell me my IPv4 address, which mine is 192.168.1. My subnet I'll need to know, and my gateway. So if I double left click to edit my network, I do configuration, I will find my MAC address, highlight, and in your case you probably only will see one MAC address. Our case, we have number of labs here that we're testing, and you can see that I am on network 192.168.1, which is what my PC is on. My subnet is exactly the same, and my gateway is the same. The other thing that you do want to check is you do want to check your panel, and you want to make sure that you set your serial speed to the actual settings that you have your panel set on. In my particular case, I have dip switch 1 and 2 up. It's a 57.6 connection, and so I would go ahead and I would hit apply. Now I've applied to my MAC address. I now have this IP assigned. I tell it OK and OK. Sometimes you'll still see network problem. Uncheck it and check it back, and you will see now my status is OK. The next thing that I need to do is I need to do a firmware update. I've changed my software and upgraded, so I will need to do a firmware update. If I highlight my panel, hit firmware update, AxtraxNG will know what type panel it is. Our firmware is loaded during the software installation. It loads it under Program Files ROS layer. I tell it OK. It says that my firmware is compatible. However, I always on a new upgrade or new install want to go ahead with my firmware update. I tell it OK. You'll see that I have a download count here that starts at 461. It'll show my progress here. I will drop down to a 0, then I'll pop back up to a 3. It will sit there at the 3 count for exactly 2 minutes. Now what it's doing at this point in time is it has cleared out all software on my panel. It is downloading the firmware at this point in time. Once I go to 0, and then it's either going to be 6 or a 3. It is connecting at this point in time. It'll take exactly 2 minutes, and then it will start downloading my configuration. Now you'll see that it is starting to download my configuration. Downloading the panel, it shows. You'll see that it's telling me what it is downloading to the panel. There's my users. Now I'm connected. I see my card or pin for my status for my readers. I'll go up to manual door open. I'll open momentarily to make sure that I'm connected to the panel. I'll hear my relays. It tells me it's succeeded. It tells me it manually opened doors so that I know that I am now connected and working. The last thing that we want to do is go to Tools, Database, and we want to back up now. We want to put it on our desktop the first time. Tell it OK. Tell it OK. It always closes out when we do a backup. And it takes approximately 30 to 45 seconds for it to do the backup. We can again go to our watchdog so that we can, our watchdog is just simply monitoring what is going on with the server. Now it tells us it's okay, and you'll see that it popped up our backup onto our desktop. So our suggestion here is to make a copy of this. Right click, copy, go to your thumb drive, and save it to your thumb drive. So you'll have one on your PC, you'll have one on your thumb drive, and you won't come up with the issue again of not having a backup. Thank you.